Next is the Children's Center, 179.
Hi, you guys. So I'm Susan Johnson, and with me is Linda is our comptroller and I'm the director of the Children's Center. Just a brief overview statement. When you think of the Children's Center, I think of us as having two businesses. One is changing children's lives for the better, and the second is maintaining or increasing the taxpayer base of the local. You keep parents employed, so that's the business we're in. What a terrible budget year. When we put our request together, we really wanted to come in less than last year. We ended up coming in $583 higher than last year. I'm sorry. We looked at our business model, and we are driven, our budget is driven by our staff, the number of people we have. And the number of staff we have is driven by state regulations. For every 4 infants and toddlers you have in your program, you are required to have an adult. For every 10 preschoolers or school-age child, you have to have an adult. There's no way around that. For every child in your school, you must have 35 square feet of interior space for them and 75 square feet of external space. Okay, we can't change the staff. The school is the size it is. The classrooms are the size they are. So Linda and I were saying, what can we cut? Well, we could cut the infant toddler program. That hurts. That's where the demand is. Our wait list for the infant toddler program is 15 pages long. Every other call we get, almost every call we get is for an infant. There isn't much infant care in New Milford. And if you're a single mom with a baby and you want to work, I don't know what you're going to do. It drives us crazy. It is also the biggest expense you have. A 4-to-1 ratio. It costs $15,000 a year to have a baby in childcare. So we didn't want to cut the infant toddler because that's the need of the community. So we looked at the food program and said, okay, we could cut the food program. We can't. If you tell us to, we will. We don't want to. We know the nutritional value of the meals we're giving the children, unparalleled. We have a cook, and she doesn't make $80,000 a year, which was rumored a lot a couple of years ago. She doesn't make a quarter of that. And just as a refresher, her raise in the last 11 years totaled $1.56 over 11 years. So the food program, can we cut that? We could. That's up to you. If you direct us to, we will. The other thing that came to mind would be to cut the state grant. Get out of that program. Stop the sliding fee scale program. Because for every child that we bring in on the sliding fee scale, we lose between $1,500 and $6,000 the moment they walk in the front door. When you have 26 preschoolers on the sliding fee scale, the parent fee varies from $7 a week to $200 a week, depending on where they come. We lose between, if every parent is at the highest end, we're going to lose $40,000 a year. If every parent's at the lowest end of the parent fee scale, we're going to lose $156,000. We're not going to make money on the sliding fee scale. We couldn't find savings. We do a hell of a lot of fundraising. I write grants that isn't even in this budget because they're a wash. We write grants for our windows, our new floor, our new carpeting, our new playground equipment, our new fencing, our new roofing, our new security system. None of that is on the town. All of that is through fundraising. Our board does annual fundraising, and they try to raise between $60,000 and $100,000 a year. Last year we did the haunted trail. It almost killed us, and we raised $6,000. We're out there. We're beating the bushes. We have people that love the school and do donate. So in the budget in itself, just for operating expense, there is $100,000 a year donated to the school. That's pretty consistent. But the town, between the operating budget allocation of $79.5 and the cost for helping us with insurance, it's 15% of our budget. That's where we are. I know it's a hard thing to hear. It's a big number. But I know we're producing taxpayers and producing revenue. And if you believe the economic research that's been done by a Nobel laureate economist named James Heckman, or the man at the Federal Reserve that was in charge of finding the best ROI for Minneapolis, what can you do to drive the best ROI? Neither of these people had any skin in the game. They both ended up concluding the best ROI is early childhood education.
Susan, obviously, thank you. I do understand that if you were to get rid of your sliding scale, that it would be a terrible blow to those people who are able to use it.
47 children.
That's right. And when you ask about getting rid of your infant program, the only place that people will go from there will be to home daycare. And home daycares, I know you know the terrible, horrible stories, but it is not a place anymore. It's not like it used to be that you really want to have them go. How many? So I mean, I think you do a wonderful job with what you have, plus your fundraising. But how many total do you have on your sliding scale?
We have 47 children on spots. We have a total enrollment of 96 this year. So it's about 50% of our school is on the sliding fee scale. You know, when people say, why does the town support the children's center? There is no other preschool that is focused on low and moderate income.
Well, you are the only one, not only in this town, but in the surrounding towns. So from last year, you have added $583 to
in our request.
Yes. American $583 is all?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thanks.
In the request, yes.
Good, thanks.
You might find that because we've had this grant a long time, you guys can hear me, right? Is because we had it so many years ago. If we had stopped doing it and we decided, you know, we're not going to take the grant, the town decides it's not going to take the grant anymore, and we're not going to go, you would not, most likely not get it back. The towns like Danbury, Bridgeport, Waterbury, Torrington, more of a low-income area, are getting grants for those daycares. That's why you don't see Knoxbury and all the surrounding, they would be able, even if they can't even apply for them. They only have the slots. And then even though the state has, some daycares have closed over the years, in like Bridgeport or whatever, they're not re-allowing those slots. So even most of these towns can't get it.
And the grant is $325,000 this year.
Walter?
Ladies, I guess I need to be re-educated, or I thought we had solved the insurance problem.
I'm not saying there's a problem. I mean, we have our own insurance program.
No. We were continuously subsidizing your health insurance at 30%. And I thought we had come to some kind of agreement last year that your organization would enter a different program where you would pick up the total cost of the insurance.
No.
What it was is we were on the town's insurance. We're no longer on the town's insurance.
Okay.
That's what changed. We have our own insurance policy. We have for the last 2 years.
Well, we were subsidizing you 30% though.
It's actually not how it worked. It was, we paid 70% of the estimated cost.
Yes.
And the town paid whatever was, if that didn't cover all of the claims that came through, the town picked up anything above our 70%. There were years where our 70% contribution to insurance actually provided an excess.
But you see, that was the big argument the last time we went through that operating expenses plus the partial subsidy of 30% of our health insurance premiums, blah, blah, blah. The argument was that we were subsidizing health insurance at 30% to your employees who are not town.
That was the key argument, is that the mayor then took the stance that the town should not be providing the town's health insurance to non-employees. That was what was the crux of the argument, that we were not employees, and so therefore should not have the town's insurance.
Okay.
And so we don't.
Well, we subsidize the current insurance. And tomorrow, when we deliberate this, you can.
Well, we have been
Still,
subsidizing.
put in the budget they're asking for. You can vote to not subsidize that if you want tomorrow.
Oh, no. All I was asking was to be re-educated, because we have been historically now subsidizing 30%. We originally asked for 79.5 back in 2017. They asked last year, which is not listed here, 140 some odd dollars. You got a total of 104, which was an increase of 24,000. Now, from that 104 to 150, that's up another 45,000. That's an enormous percentage from last year to this year. If it is the will of the council, if it's, the will of the people, I got elected because I'm here to serve the will of the people, but to me, it's improper to subsidize your health insurance.
Let me just make a couple quick comments then, to make sure that you
Yeah.
have the numbers right. Because the appropriation was for 79.5 plus the health insurance in every prior year. So it had always been 100, but in the budget, when the health insurance was in a separate category, it wasn't carved out. The number
It was
isn't.
not, that's right, it was not indicated at all.
It was in a supplement that the town council had. You could always see what the cost was, and you could see our contributions. It was always available. So the request number has always wavered between 150 to 160,000 a year, but last year we couldn't show the dollar amount
Right.
because, 2 years ago we couldn't, but last year we could. So we have not changed the amount we've requested of the town since 1998. 20 years ago, we've kept the budget the same, the request the same, for 20 years. So, I
And
mean,
as I said, if this is the will of the people,
Yeah.
I still find it improper, but
well, you can, if you don't want to think of it as an insurance appropriation, you could simply categorize it as operating expense. Because that's where it is now. I mean, we think of it as how we're helping ourselves continue our business
oh,
day
I
to day.
have no problem helping people, trust me. I have no problem helping
Okay.
people. I would, never mind. I just needed to be re-educated, and I thank you for that.
I wasn't here on the council last time, but was it decided that they couldn't be on the town's policy, or it was just you guys decided?
They're not,
as a town?
can't be, because
No, that's incorrect. Just to reiterate, I personally asked the town attorney. He stated that the
Yeah.
language in the
But that
plan
time
could
was
be
John
changed.
Howard.
The representative from the insurance company stood at that podium and said that we could insure them.
So my question is,
we could.
Yes.
We could,
Oh,
yes,
could,
our
could.
insurance representative stated that.
So
They
my
were
question
then let
is-
go within a month.
so my question is putting them back in the town policy, assuming dollars for dollars, are we better off as a town and the children's center if they're on our policy financially than if they're buying their own policy and we're subsidizing? You know what I'm saying? You're asking. Does anyone know the answer, or is that something to find out?
We can alert for that,
We can get that up.
That's below.
Mike, we can get
That's
that
below.
up. We can get that up.
Because if we're allowed to do it, and we vote as a group that we want to keep supporting them, I want to do it the most effective, efficient way. And if that's it, then I would rather put it back on the policy.
I just want to make a comment. We do this every year, and, what makes up this council changes every 2 years, and it would be up to Susan to discuss this further, but it seems to me that it's a tremendous amount of time, effort, emotion, stress that went into it the last time, and if we ever had to do it again, I can't see the intrinsic value being worth it.
It depends on the dollar amount, in my mind. If it's a
Well,
big
As I
savings.
said, that would really be what Susan and company had to say about that. I don't know if you
Well-
ever want to go through that again. It's one thing to go into it in a positive way. If you had to come back out of it again, that would be,
The benefit for the school, obviously, is being part of a large group plan and keeps
Yes.
your cost. And Terry Donato, the insurance broker that you're referring to, said historically, she kept the increases for the town to 0 to 2% a year.
would you want to go through that again in another year? Or, you know, the composition of this council could change, and thus the selection to do it or not do it.
But you're saying go through it, but if I say, you know, if I'm looking at it saying, all right, I'm gonna give them 79.5 for operating and a certain dollar amount for insurance, if their employees end up having to pay less for insurance because
But they could
They're on our
lose the
policy, it's
ability
worth
to
the-
get the insurance in 2 years if this council were to decide.
I know what you're saying.
Well, but just because we went through it, I'm just saying that it was a very, very stressful time for everybody involved. And I think that with insurance changing, I just look at it as possibly jeopardizing your ability to get back on to a policy. I think there's a lot more to look at than just that. That's just my.
But you can't even have that discussion until you know the dollar amount. Because if it's a lot, then it makes sense.
But if they can't get insurance in 2 years after, what then?
Well,
Concerned.
Then we'd sign
The
off and
laws
say,
change and they
well,
look at
we'd have to commit to continually do that.
All right, but if I look at as I'm here because I gotta save the town money, and I'm gonna say, well, if they went back in the town's policy, we could save them 10 grand, then I'd rather cut 10 grand out of this budget because it doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand the headache, but if it's 10 grand or whatever dollar amount, it's still
It's not
money.
just a headache, it's the ability for them, you've had insurance in your life, and you know that sometimes if you leave what you have and you go off to the less expensive policy and then you come back to your broker, he says, well, geez, no, I'm sorry, but I can't put you on that plan anymore, you know, you're not grandfathered in anymore.
Paul?
Yeah, so just to be clear, we get a grant every year about $325,000, and we only contribute less than half of that.
Right.
We'd have asked you where any other grant that provides that return on investment. You would know. So if we didn't have your program, we didn't have these 50 or so kids who have this program, where else would they go for the nutrition that is provided by the Children's Center? We'd have social services would have to step in and pay for that. If we don't have this program and they're subsidizing these 50 children, where are they going to get a NIAC accredited education? They're not. So now we're going to have these kids who have little to no family support system to begin with that are now going to be putting an additional strain on social services. They're never ever going to have an opportunity to succeed in life like people's kids who are well off, people who can provide nutritious meals, people who can provide sending their kids to a school where they can get this program. But these kids can't afford that. They don't have that opportunity.
I'm just talking about the savings and insurance. I'm not saying I disagree with anything. I know I'm just saying we can save the town more than money. I'd rather save money. It's not.
We thought about asking what is the cost for the town, but we didn't want to go back.
Mike, it's just personal to me because, you know, we didn't grow up with a lot of money in my family.
No,
I've done well. I've done well. I can provide for my son. And it really upset me last year when I saw a group of individuals attack 47 children who, without this program, wouldn't have a chance to live.
No, I know. I'm not attacking the program. I'm just
Yeah.
saying if we
No,
can
I
put
know.
it back in the town
Understand.
policy and save money, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change how I feel about the children's center. I just like to save money.
Thank you, Paul. I just want to finish with a short story then, because as registration happens for kindergarten, I can't tell you, oh, I hate it when I cry. So a mom comes to me and tells me this story about her daughter meeting her kindergarten teacher. And the kindergarten teacher turns to the mom and says, "Did your child go to the children's center?" And the mother looks at the teacher and says, "Yeah, how did you know?" And the kindergarten teacher says, "We can always tell. They come ready to learn." The pride in this program and what you guys make possible for this town and our being part of the town is the DNA of our school. So for 47 years, we thank you for your support. all that you've done for the 3,500-ish kids that have come through us. Thank you. Oh, we're not done, sorry.
Ladies, all I asked was, and I thank you, all I asked was for clarification, and you did that. Sometimes I'm just I got blinders on, and all I can see is straight ahead. And Paul, I thank you.
I love you.
It's very clear to me. I got no problem
You
with
know I'm
that.
not,
Okay.
you know I'm not passionate about my.
You buy the coffee in the morning, by the way.
I'm double. Gets you a drive.
I'm just gonna piggyback on Paul. I was an only child to a single parent growing up. And my mother had to work for Coley Mooney's as well again. And I was actually in a two-day program such as yourself. And so that gave my mother the opportunity to go to college and get a degree. And so for her to be able to get help to provide for us, or me, and then unfortunately she's passed away, but I've always kept that work ethic. And I still have friends to today. One of my oldest friends, who's 54, we grew up in the same nursery school. And we're still in contact. And so, like Paul said, I'm a very successful businessman, but I always remember where I came from. And these important assets that you guys have in this town are one of the most important assets that a town can have. And for us to overlook or not support it is the foundation of what this town is made of. So I appreciate you guys coming in, and you have my full support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Bass.
You can't make us cry.
Thanks. Thank you for standing up for us in public last year.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for all you and your staff do for those kids and those parents, allowing those parents to go to work and give them a hand to succeed. And thank you.
It's a joy and a privilege. Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies.
Have a good night.